comment I see is I swear that every Star Fox game is a remake of the first one.
Yeah. Um, they've Star Fox has tried some stuff in the past. Excuse me, to like go a different route. The Wii U version tried that, but we're live, by the way. But instead of doing something that would like last, where it's like the controls would, I wouldn't say be universal, but like, that game probably Wii U is 15 years ago, something like that. Sheesh. Right. No, maybe not that long ago. Anyway, like years down the line, you'd be able to like play it on other consoles or whatever, but I think that game's like trapped on the Wii U because the control system on it was so weird, because like you didn't actually just like play on the TV, if I remember correctly. You had to use like the, baby's first tablet on the Wii U to like aim and stuff, and I think it was in first person. Friend of the show Jake, I think, actually had the game. It never did anything for me. I was like, if I can't just kind of like sit and fly a jet fighter and shoot enemies and have my team just like say their quirky lines, I don't want to stand in a room. That was during that age where like video game companies were trying to make gamers more active. Yep. So it I think that was like all part of it, where it's like, what if don't you want to like stand up and move your arms around and move the pad around? And it was like, no, guys, that's not. And it's so funny because it took almost an entire, so like, we had the Wii, and that was like kind of novel, and it was cheap too, by the way. Like I think it's one of the things people forget is that console sold like crazy, but it was incredibly affordable. I think even on launch,
Really?
Yeah, even for I think it was 2007 when that came out. I stood in line for that console. Way back then. But yeah, it was like a novel thing where you're like, oh, I can bowl and I can do, and so like the next 10 years we would be plagued with things. You know how we always talk about with movies how people learn the wrong lessons from that stuff?
Yep.
So that it's a similar thing with the Wii. I think all of a sudden all these companies thought that like their core audience would want to like get up and move all the time, and there was definitely untapped potential in some of that with things like Just Dance and even some of the, like the Wii Sports stuff. And I'm trying to remember if there was anything else that had people being like crazy interactive that blew up. But then Xbox came out with do you remember what the thing was called? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like that bar that you had to buy. It was like a camera basically that came with all the
like
Xbox. Was it the Xbox One?
Katina, something
not
like that?
Cortana. No, not Cortana. This is before Cortana. Was this man, what was that? It basically read, it was like a scanner, and so like it could basically scan your body
Your
for
face,
like
your
motions.
body for games.
Oh,
Yep.
for like, yeah, and so yeah, exactly. And so like they had this like really cringy Just Dance Star Wars game. There's a whole the whole E3 press conference from back then, the Xbox One specifically. It's like people talking to, it's all fake for the most part, but people being like, you can hand an apple to Milo, he's your friend, and like all this weird stuff. And they did like this Disney one where these people were pretending to paddle a boat in like one of the Disney theme parks, and just crazy stuff like that. But yeah, it was like an age of everyone thinking that that's what everyone wanted, and then the PS4 came out, and it was like, no, it's just a box and a controller, and Call of Duty's not exclusive to like the Xbox anymore, and that thing sold unbelievably well. Xbox really went in a bad direction. Really, by the end of the 360 era, they started hurting, and the Red Ring was a big problem for them. And then just these decisions that they were making with the what was that thing called? It's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna have to look it up.
If my keeper finds out that they're playing The Devil Wears Prada 2 at my movie theater,
ooh,
I'm definitely gonna have to go.
Well, then, I mean, I'll go see it. I don't care. I haven't seen the first one in ages. What was the?
I don't know why that they're playing Michael for the second showing, but up until then, I don't know why they're playing this other movie. But it is what it is. I thought, when does that Mortal Kombat come out?
I saw someone had a review out already for it.
Yeah, I saw it too. So that's why I was like, when does that bad boy come out?
Oh, it was the Connect. That's what it was called. Yep. It was the Connect.
May 8th. It comes out in 3 days.
Devil Wear Prada or
no,
Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
No,
and of course, my theater.
It's not going to show it.
Play Michael instead.
Yeah, I've heard decent things.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, dude,
it's not really our it's not really our
forever
thing either. Like, I don't know how many people are actually going to be like, we want to hear you guys talk about Michael. I'll just be like, all right, it was
yeah, right.
It was fun.
That's what the good people come to listen to.
I'll watch it when it's out on streaming.
Oh yeah, let me tell everyone we're live.
Yes, they need to be aware of that before we keep going. We have a few things to talk about this week.
Yes, we do. Quite a few things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to hop into first? I'll let you. I don't even know what Pragmata is.
We're going to talk about the controversy around it more than anything. You didn't watch that Shoe on Head video that she put out?
No.
Bro, you got to keep up with that. She's like, I knew about a little bit of this, but I like her because she like cracks me up.
She's leftist and you're leftist.
Yeah, exactly. What's so funny to me though is like she's like I guess I can make this joke. What's up, Jenna? She's like the opposite of Nick Fuentes. Where she seems like she's gonna like flip. Well, she has in a way, like she's flipped a lot more. Not in a necessarily political sense, but like she's significantly more conservative than she used to be.
Right.
And funny enough, it's because she got married and had a kid.
That's usually.
Yeah. But hey, listen, congratulations.
Not all the time, but
yeah.
There's a statistically speaking.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations on Fuentes of finally coming out of the closet. Sorry, we're not a political podcast, but I had to had to get that in there.
I don't even know anything.
Who is this? So
I keep up with nothing.
I just saw something. I don't know, man. I'm not like hunting this stuff down. Just see stuff that people are posting or whatever, and apparently he's like flipped Democrat or something, or who cares?
That's fine. Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I saw today is that there is a group of people, if they're real, there's a what the heck, dude? My mic is being weird tonight. Sure, Jenna, whatever you say. That gala was going on, the one where the Met Gala was going on.
You went to and dressed up for?
Yeah. There's pictures online if you hunt them down.
Sequence dress, right? That's what you wore.
Oh yeah, with a blindfold, because that was like everybody was wearing blindfolds.
that wore the dollar bill as a blindfold to represent the 1%, which
Bro,
makes millions of dollars in just the 1%.
$100,000 tickets to get into that show. $100,000 tickets. But this guy came up. I don't know who he was. But he comes up and someone asks him like what his favorite Beyonce song is, and he goes, I don't know, man. I don't listen to Beyonce. I like metal. And he goes, anyway, and like walks away. And all these people are like, it's racist coded. How dare he? Because I guess she like put the thing on or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was really funny because people are just like losing their minds, and it's like the same group of people that are like upset about the rich, and it's like, guys, pick a lane already, please, or stop talking. But yeah, man. Anyway, all swinging that all the way back around. Pragmata came out a couple weeks ago, and it's from like I'm going to play it. I was actually going to play it because it's not very long. I think it's like a 12-hour game, something like that, like roughly. And if you play as this guy, I'm pretty sure his name's Hugh, and you're a soldier. You go to this moon base because things are happening. You meet this little like AI robot, and there's like some other story elements that are going on in that. But just for like to keep it vague and simple, you meet a robot. She's a small girl. She's like an android, and people have basically been talking about how this game has like awoken this like desire in guys to want to be like fathers.
Oh, really?
And predictably, portions of like online culture have decided that like have literally, I mean like literally, right? And when you know how people are, everything's like hyperbolic. Like there's no room to have like actual discussions with people anymore. It's like you just have to come out. You have to be as like staunch in your principles as possible with no flexibility. And so like people have come out and basically said, these guys, quote unquote, who may be single, who now have this desire for children, to like get married, to have children, because they've found something, they've latched onto something with this game in that like realm, are pedophiles. That is like equivalent to being a pedo.
Just because they have a kid that's in there, and it's like, is it this like father-daughter type
it's a father figure thing, just like God of War, except
and so it's
a
making
girl.
Guys want to have kids because it's like,
yeah,
this is what I'm missing in life.
And Shuan calls it the male biological clock because it's not an actual like thing that's ticking down, but essentially the way she explains is it's like one day you wake up and you have this idea in your head that you'd like to be like making pancakes with your daughter in the morning, and it's not like this thing where you're like, oh my gosh, like my time's running out to have children, because it's different for men, but it's something that's like there is something there like innately in you, and then like this game has awakened that in a lot of people, because you know how it is with people, like they're perpetually online. It's like really easy to get caught up in basically other people's like stupid wars online.
Yep.
100%. And so she's like, it's not just her, but like, she's the one who put like it was like a 20-minute video, something like that. And just kind of going through and then like calling out like Hassan Piker and just sort of this crowd that it's like, how is this a bad thing? And then it's weird that those are the phrases that they're running to in order to like make that happen. And it's just like, you know how it is, man. Like it's not even worth trying to like break down that stuff a lot of the time, because there's no sense to it.
Yep.
That like you would have a conversation with someone and they're like, man, like it would be like if I was working with people. I actually had this conversation with somebody today. Not 100% about like Pragmata or whatever, but I was like, yeah, I would love to have kids. I was like, and I literally told her, I was like, guys have biological clock. It just works different. And she thought it was really funny. And I did say it in kind of like a bit of a snarky way. Cause I like to make people laugh if I can. But it's, it's just one of those things that's like, it's true. And it would have been insane for her to be like, that's like pedo coded, David. You can't say those things.
Yeah, that'd be odd.
You just be like, are you okay?
That's weird that you can't like talk about kids from a place of a parental aspect without people assuming the worst.
Perpetually online brain rotted people is to be more specific, because you and I can have that conversation. Quite a few of the people who listen to us can have that conversation with them. I could pull like Whoopa in here and we could have that conversation. But that's not, he's busy. But that's like us living in reality. Because when you actually have to like talk to people in real life, to coin a phrase, when you actually have to get out in real life, and if someone was to say that to you in real life, you would either get made fun of to your face. Depending on where you are, your work might get involved, and you might have to have a really long meeting about how insane that is. Like, there's actual consequences to that in real life. Whereas, when you're online and you're just like talking to a stream all day long, you can say all sorts of things that.
I think a lot of it too is like we've talked about before. People think online life is real life, and it's not. Like you mentioned it in this conversation, they're just terminally online in the sense of just terminally on social media, not like utilizing their time in a productive and well-meaning sense online. But it's always about criticizing and being negative and attacking others versus listening and responding to and seeing what the person is actually saying. It's always trying to find faults in others, because probably just people are projecting from themselves and for one reason or the other.
And
I think that's why, like last year, I think it was, whenever it was, when you and I were talking about different people who comment on our videos. I'm like, man, I'm just gonna I don't mind messing with people. I mean, for sure, I like having fun, joking around, but just redirect that to something. Hey, man, what's going on? Are you okay? Or hey, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, just checking. Like, why are you getting this upset about something? It's kind of like the same thing like we've talked with certain YouTubers we've watched in the past, where I've told you, like, man, I just can't watch this person anymore, because it's like every single time I'm watching them, they're getting heated, they're cursing, we're reviewing something, and I get like it's good to be passionate about something, but it's like, dude, like, calm down. Calm down, man.
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it. I don't. It doesn't. That kind of thing like typically doesn't work in real life. You raise your voice now? Whoopa might get upset at me for this, and it's not just Gen Zers, but there's a lot of people, especially like the younger that you go, if you raise your voice like in any way or like get stern in any way, like it's amount to them being yelled at. And I know sometimes it's like they're exaggerating some, but they're like, why are you yelling? And it's like, this is not yelling. It was like, do you want to hear me yell? I was like, I can show you what yelling actually sounds like.
That parent comes out in you.
Oh, brother. But yeah, I
will show you what it's like.
That's why I put that on there, because it's like, man, I there's a lot of that stuff that I can either kind of like laugh off or overlook, but there is definitely this very sad, like deep-seated hate and anger directed towards things in our culture that like it doesn't need to be there. And this is not a political thing. This is not like, I would call it more like culture war type stuff. And I know it always comes back to politics with a lot of people, but it doesn't need to, because ultimately like politics isn't going to solve those issues, because they are social issues, which means people have to like figure out how to deal that within their social circles. And it seems like it seems like some of that stuff's like just kind of getting worse. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But people still have like, it's one of those things. It's like, I think people forget sometimes that it's like there is something, and you and I would say it comes from, if I'm being accurate with this, sort of like the being created in the image of God, that there's like that innate biological desire for specific things to protect, to
use what you've been doing in a good and holy and God honoring way.
And to go back to like some of the stuff that we talk about a lot, that's why certain stories just resonate so hard with people. It's one of the reasons that like the God of War stuff resonates with me so much. Is because it's literally about a broken man overcoming to do what's right for his son. Like at its core, there's these like core elements to it, and that's why it like hits with people. And you know, it's not like they nail it with every single one, but it's like that. One of the things that it's typically referred to is like this wolf and pup story. So you have the experienced older character who's helping protect and guide a younger character through like life in a way, and like teaching them about life and trying to bestow certain things to them that they believe will help them in their life, like moving forward. Which is like it's like a human desire, like it's a thing that people want to do, and it comes from like a good place. It's why those stories have always resonated. It's why stories of sacrifice or redemption, like we talk about Lord of the Rings like all the time on here. It's why that kind of stuff resonates with people as well, is because there is like we don't talk about it like a ton, but there is something there, regardless of how people would look at like our beliefs. It's really hard to deny, regardless. Like if I was like talking to somebody about this, it's hard to deny, regardless, that there is something there. There's some, and people will deny it. People say it's not, and I don't know. I haven't figured out yet. Who knows if I'll ever figure it out? If it's something that you can sort of like block out, like you can numb yourself to it. Which I want to say with this Pragmata thing, I don't know if it's people who have always kind of felt that desire, but they've never felt like they could actually say, like, speak their mind about something like that and being like, yeah, I would actually like really like to, like, there's something, this did something to me, like this connected with me in a way. And so people just aren't saying it out loud. Or if it's true that the culture has like numbed a lot of people to those things because they've been telling them for, 20 plus years, that that's not really what you want. You don't really want a family. You don't really want kids. You don't really want to like settle down and like find someone who you can love and take care of and protect.
Right.
And do that for like your children as well. Sorry, it's a little deeper than I think we usually get on some of these, but I just like found it so fascinating that
where the conversation went with Pragmata.
Yeah, and that it literally almost like it either woke something up in people, or re-emerge, like something like re-emerge in people where they're like, dang, this is actually really what I want. And it's so crazy that it's just this like this Capcom game that like I never would have really paid as much attention to, I don't think, had that been the case. Like, I'm probably going to play it now. Because it's not like this is the first game that's done that. Like, BioShock has done this. Like I said, God of War has done this. I mean, you can probably find plenty of games that have done something very similar to this. But for some reason, this is the one that did it for people. This is the one that, like, broke through. And the game's done really well. I think its first week it sold, like, 2 million copies. Like, it's a success. And it's resonated with people in some way. Like, I think even more than Resident Evil 9 did, and that's like a staple. The game sold pretty well, but like it didn't stick around the way that I feel like Pragmata kind of has, and potentially will. Like, there's just the like images of I forgot the little girl, Diana, I think is her name. That's all of these like memes and people kind of like sharing like their favorite clips of her from the game, and her like drawing like pictures from you. And then someone was talking about like a lot of these like very progressive female streamers that it's like waking something up in a bunch of them too, where it's like, oh, maybe I do want kids. That's pretty funny. So yeah, man, I wanted to bring that up because it's like it kind of like crosses lines a little bit. It's something we don't. It's like in our realm, but it's something that we don't get to talk about as much. And I was like, in a weird way, it's like refreshing to talk about something that isn't like, look how much money Disney and or Amazon and or name your giant studio has lost this week.
Right.
And I don't know, man. It's like, and it's interesting to talk about without, you don't even really have to have played the game to kind of understand where people are coming from with this and why it's so crazy that a certain like subculture of the internet has latched onto in a like very vile way, you know?
Yep.
And it's weird, very weird that every time someone comes out with like a we can call it a more like traditional value or something that's that is like more like biblically based, if you will, it gets treated in this like way of like it's this weird, disgusting thing, and you have like ulterior motives as to why you would want to get married and have children with someone. Like, it's very weird. Like, and it's like we talk about, like, there's just no logic behind it. Their argument doesn't hold water, but it's the internet, so it doesn't really have to, because you can just continue to like pivot and pretend like you're dumb and that you don't actually know what the person's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So yeah, it's like you were saying, like when people are like coming at you like that, I don't even. I think I'm even past the point of attempting to see if there's something wrong with them, because I don't think you're going to get the reaction that you're looking for.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it is what's the term that people are using now for that? It's like, it's just like people are trying to rile you up, get a reaction, because that's what gets clicked. Yep. That's what gets
rage
clicks.
bait you.
Mm-hmm.
Engagement farming.
Yeah. Tell us what you think in the comments down below. Anyway,
dude, I do have some bad news to share.
Bad news.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, I was I don't know. It's just really bad. I saw X the other day, since that's what it's called now, that they are in fact making a sequel to Jurassic World Rebirth.
Well, it did make a lot of money.
It did.
It did make a lot of money, unfortunately. Man, thank you for now reawakening memories of that movie in my head.
Makes you want a Snickers, doesn't it? It made $869 million. But dude, you there?
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading Caravaggio's comment. Caravaggio, what do you mean? I don't really understand. Keep going. Jurassic World Rebirth. Maybe I'm misreading it.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so, the budget was, anywhere from 180 to 225. They always report low, so we'll go with 225. You do 2.5 times. Yeah, I mean, they made, even if you did it multiplied by 3, yeah, they probably made money on it. Enough to make a sequel.
It was because they're the only number that they're going to be pointing to is like the 800 and whatever million that it made.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's it's the same logic that we were just talking about, where it's like trying to talk in detail about this kind of stuff. Like most of these people don't care. It's like, hey, big number. You see big number? Big number mean we make sequel so we can make more money. Doesn't really matter if it was terrible, or if more than likely, because nobody liked that. You know what I mean? Like, nobody liked that movie. I don't think I've heard from a single person that I know that saw it that was like, oh, I actually enjoyed that. Like, even average moviegoer people that I know that will go see literally anything that comes out, they didn't like it. So I don't know.
They are pushing Narnia out to 2027 now, February.
I did see that.
And it's only going to be in theaters for like 2 months, and then
it'll be on streaming.
It will be on streaming on Netflix.
Yeah.
So February 12th is when it comes out. I was kind of hoping it was going to be January. That would have been funny.
We were about to get
February 12th is cutting it close, though.
It is, yeah. I feel like they probably put it in February to avoid the whole like January thing and they know what they're doing. Release dates happen for a reason. Like there's strategy behind it, even if it's probably going to be terrible. I am so curious about that. I feel like because like we know, right? We know, but like I want to know like in detail what this thing's gonna be. Because like Rings of Power coming out, we know what that's gonna be, regardless of what they do with it. We know the quality. We've seen it before.
Yeah,
like it's not an unknown thing like it was when the first season was coming out.
We're not gonna be surprised that this is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of what other crappy. Well, at least we got House of the Dragon coming up in a couple months.
Yeah, June 21st.
I'm really looking to. I've talked about it a little bit. I do hope it's good because I would hate to have talked about it so much and then it not turn out to be good. But that movie, The Furious, it's that new martial arts movie that's coming out. Looks cool.
Oh yeah,
it looks cool, and I hope it's fun and gives me the same sort of feeling from watching The Raid back in the day, at least to some degree, you know.
Right.
Did I tell you I watched both of those again recently, like The Raid 1 and 2?
Yeah, you did.
Man, I like a lot. I love the first one. It's like that movie, like top 100. It's probably in my top 10. Second one, good. Action's awesome. Really cool set pieces. It's a little too long, and the story, it's weird because like the pacing actually feels pretty good in it, but the story's like kind of nonsense. It's like they wanted to try to like make a story, but it's just there to kind of like put the different like set pieces together, and so it's like it doesn't totally work. There's like things kind of missing and things that I would have done differently.
Yep. Sorry. You ever realize you're like, oops.
Oh, interesting.
I sent this text to the wrong person and it's work.
Oh, bro, I've done
like
that.
Earlier today, I just had a revelation when you were talking. I'm like, oh, well, it doesn't.
It's all good. Caravaggio, thank you for clearing that up. That is something that's a perspective I had not thought about with that. That there's he was saying that it's perverse, not in the sense that the guys playing it have ulterior motives, but in the sense that there are swaths of childless men consuming this simulated fatherhood. We'd have to like go into more like detail to try to like talk about that some, but I think I kind of get where you're coming from with it. I think it's just like insane to me that something can trigger in someone like this
something good,
this good desire, and then people just have like they take it and try to like perverse it.
It's the internet, man. Of course. Dude.
Yeah, it's almost like
you could come out and say this blue sky looks so beautiful today, and they're gonna be, blue skies are terrible.
Yeah, how dare you? That's coded in some kind of language.
That's a dog whistle.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes, he likes blue skies too.
How dare you?
Hitler enjoyed
blue
as well.
Blue, the eye color of the Aryan race.
Yeah, exactly.
Aryan, like just trying to go through. It's people on their crazy conspiracy boards like that meme from It's Always Sunny with Charlie.
Dude, I love that clip of what's that Always Sunny in Philadelphia clip of the guy proving
God.
God is real.
Yeah.
But the other guy's like science, and that's such a great skit.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude. I should look that up.
It's like he's believing the same thing about science, and it's like, dude, that's perfect and ironically spot on too.
Wait, what were we talking about? Are we still on the Jurassic World thing, or did we move on from?
Yeah, beforehand we were talking about that, and then Caravaggio was
about the
Pragmata.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like it's one of those topics that like you could sit and talk about for like an hour. Like we could have gone down a rabbit hole with that stuff. But I just, dude, honestly, like, it makes me so sad a lot of the time. Like, I always can kind of tell when it's time to take like an extended break from the internet, not in the sense of the show, but like, okay, I was like, I need to get news for the show and interesting stuff for us to talk about,
and that's it,
and then just be done with it. Because like, dude,
that's why I'm glad I have our social media for our X, to where I have it to where it's filtered to just entertainment and college football and Christianity. That's it. Like, that's all I really care about seeing. And anytime anything else pops up, I'll make sure the algorithm knows I am not interested.
Yeah.
Don't care what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
The other thing too that you got to watch out for is constantly having heartbreaking stories on there.
Yeah,
because it's like we just don't have the capacity, man. To
yeah, and it's
like every single heartbreaking story. Like,
this is gonna be a much more emotional episode than I had planned on.
Yeah, right.
Because like
sometimes it's like that.
I don't know if you felt this way, because I know this has happened with you with like football in the past or whatever, but I feel like gaming or any kind of collecting or like kind of name your hobby or your interest or whatever thing it is, feels like so much of it has gotten. There's always been this like element within those things that's, you could call it like the bad element or whatever, and it's always been sort of like a small percentage. But I feel like lately it's one thing or another where it's like these sad or kind of like, I say depressing, I don't mean it in like the, you know what I mean? I mean it in like the general term. Just sort of these depressing things where it's like people are getting in fights over like Pokemon cards, like grown adults fist fighting in the stores with stuff
That's
like
how
that.
I feel like with with sports as well. I'm like, dude, it's just a
guy,
game. It was like I was telling you earlier, when someone's getting like some of the content creators that I used to listen to where I don't listen to anymore because they get so extremely heated constantly.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's like, guys, like, they're more, I get it, be passionate, that's fine. I completely understand like the frustration and the anger and everything, but there are more things in life to devote your energy to. Go ahead, sorry.
I was say, just shout out to Whoopa, because like it's funny, he streams, he's back streaming like Wednesday nights, trying to stream the same time we are. Thanks, Whoopa. But I popped in last week because we didn't stream last week, and was just kind of like chatting with him a little bit, because we hadn't. Yeah, it's all good. We hadn't. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and this is like kind of our friendship or whatever, where it's like sometimes I'm streaming and he'll hop in and we'll just like kind of talk, and other people chime in occasionally, or I was like, oh man, I want to hop over there and just like see what he's up to. But I was telling him, I was like, dude, I hardly listen to podcasts anymore. I was like, I've been focused a little more on the stuff that I'm watching for like the show. Like, it's like, okay, like I've been wanting to see this, like, let's see what this is like, because it's stuff that might come up or stuff that like we might talk about.
Right.
And then like I've been watching like a lot of old school stuff, and then like I'm just kind of working on like creative pursuits besides just the podcast, like trying to figure out like writing a little bit more, and I'm trying to upgrade like my camera gear or whatever so I can start doing more stuff with that. And just like focusing on things that keep me away from a lot of the just like insanity, Yep. And I think it's one of the reasons why like I still, like, Mahler put out like a new video or whatever. He was like breaking down the Marvels. It's like 3 hours or whatever, and I can still sit and like watch one of his things, because the way that dude cuts through a lot of things to really like get at the details of like the story, or like why things don't make sense, and he goes into sort of like the mindset of the director or the writer, or like any sort of thing that you can find about it. That's the kind of like criticism and the kind of things that I'm like, cool,
right.
And it's not to say that I don't appreciate anybody else that does that. It just doesn't do the same thing for me, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I get it.
Dude, and maybe it's
Plus,
just
when like a lot of the podcasts we listen to are, they're long.
yeah.
And so it's hard to have as you get older, you have more responsibilities and stuff. So you have to be more picky with your time. And it's hard to, listen to 6 hours when one of our podcasts we like to listen to is 3 hours long.
Yeah, it is.
And then this one is 3 hours long, and then this one is 3 hours long.
It's really tough. I used to. I was listening to Adam Curry talk about that recently, where he was just like, if it goes 30 minutes, it goes 30 minutes. If it goes 2 hours, it goes 2 hours. It's like, don't force it. It's like, have your conversation, have your discussion, and when it's done, it's done.
And be done.
Yeah, and then you can, if you forget things or there's other stuff you wanted to talk about, you can save it for the next one.
Yep.
There's always like the opportunity to be able to do stuff like that. Yeah. And dude, I just like hobbies, all these things that I used to really like and care about. It feels like they're kind of getting ruined for one reason or another, whether it's like people scalping. Dude, like somebody got like shot because they cut in line in front of somebody like waiting for Pokemon cards the other day.
Really?
Dude, it's so, dude. Okay. So I won't go into detail about this, but like the quick explanation of it is that because you can buy a box at like retail price and then flip it for double that price, not always, but a good amount of time, people have like lost their minds. And the fact that you could pull a card out of one of those packs that's worth like $1,000, not quite that, because like when you try to like sell it or whatever, like there's fees or people are gonna only take like a percentage of the price, but you're still talking like $800-900 if you happen to pull this thing out of there. People have lost their ever-loving minds over this stuff, and it's just kind of like, it's gross, and it's not what like collecting.
That's 'cause you're just maturing, man.
Yeah, you're right. I know it's that. It's just
being. Well, it's not even being old. It's just being mature.
Fair enough.
It's like, because there's plenty of people who are old who lack the maturity, discernment, wisdom, and understanding of all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I still remember, I can't remember exactly when it happened. We were probably in college, but I still remember at one point being like, you know what? I was like, I don't want to stand in lines anymore. I was like, I hate standing in line. And so I just like stopped going to like midnight releases and stuff. And I'm like, I can literally pick this up the next day and it's not that big of a deal. Yep. It was all these things where you just go like, it's like your priorities change, and you're right. I think there is like a level of, it's not in everything, believe me, but like there is something to what you're saying about like you start to mature in some places and just realize like, I don't know. I could go on some rants, I think, and I have to like sit back sometimes and be like, is it me? Like I was ranting today at work a little bit because like I'm really tired of every week. It feels like that there's like new days that people have made up either in appreciation of something or to like recognize something. Like you have Donut Day and you've got Nurse Day and you've got this thing day. And it's like, guys, like we don't need to do this, because the more it's been happening, it really starts to feel like the participation award. Like, congratulations on having a job that pays you like a livable wage. Don't get me wrong. I understand that some people's jobs are very hard. Like, that's not the discussion we're having. But like, there's this thing that happens, and it's been happening a long time. And I think you know this because you've worked in food too.
Yep.
But like, this thing starts happening where these days all start coming around, and then people start expecting free things from you because it's those days. And it's like, when did we all agree to this? Why is that? Like, when did we agree to this?
Right.
That's
funny.
I'm just not a fan. That's what it really comes down to. Like, I get it. Because people will be like, well, I think it's fine for this person to have it. And it's like, well, if it's fine for them, then it's kind of fine for everybody, right? So like, either this is a thing or it's not a thing. And I'm more on the side of like, I don't really want it to be a thing. I don't think because you have, like, you chose a specific career path that like it necessarily determines that like people should just be like take a day to give you like free stuff. It seems goofy to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a capitalist in that sense.
No, I agree with you.
I find it really funny too. You know, one of the jobs that I have, and people have, I'm not going to say what it is, but people have a tendency to believe because the place that I work at holds certain belief systems in higher regard than others, that we are a charity and that we can just willy-nilly give away things for free. And then to not do said things for person asking for free things makes you not that thing, and actually you're the opposite of that. And it's very, I know I'm being a little vague about it. People could probably read through the subtext or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. And I find that so interesting. And most of the time it's just because like the area that I'm in is there's a lot of homeless people and or vagrants and or rich kids pretending that they're homeless. It is a thing. It's a thing.
That's so weird.
It's very weird, but it is
I
a
guess
culture.
It's just because
it's a culture.
Like when victimhood is rewarded, or what's the way to say it? You know what I'm trying to say?
I think I do. I don't know if I would say victimhood.
Rewarded. Yeah, not that, but like when
people, I think innately, there's this thing that makes people want to take advantage of other people.
Yeah.
Like they're looking, even if they're...
Well, I think there is this, like, there are actual victims who need help and support and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you're born with, and there's nothing wrong with being born rich and stuff like that, but it's not actually kind of that surprising that rich kids would want to be that.
It's a weird tourism thing.
You got to have this, almost like with certain ideologies, this aspect of victimhood in order to progress in life. I would say like, you know, with our generation, one of, you know, with emo being so big, it was that despair mentality that like a lot of people had, to where if you weren't part of that, you were kind of shunned, or, you know, on the, maybe shun's too hard, but part of the out group, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know. It's like, it's got its place, right? I mean, I think, especially from an artistic,
shunning people does have its place.
Well, I was gonna say more from like an artistic standpoint. Like, there's a lot of people who grow up in like Midwestern towns and these places that felt really hopeless, and so it's like a way for people
like
to kind
Atlanta.
of like, no. I mean, depending on where you're at, it's like. That's why I've always found, because they call it, like, especially these days, it's like the Midwestern like emo scene or whatever. It's not quite what it used to be, and I think it's like in a better place for it. Like when things become like the popular thing, that's when you start seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
But
and it's good to make stuff that resonates with people. But you know what I mean? It's almost like wearing it. Maybe a good way to say it is as like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
But rich kids trying to pretend to be homeless isn't as surprising.
No, I mean, it's like,
because to your point, it's also the other side of that is just purely just wanting to take advantage of people.
I legitimately,
or just wanting to win something, wanting to see if you can. Am I good at this type of deal? The thrill of it.
Legitimately, there are times when I'm at work or like doing things, and it's been like a really hard day, and I see like people with their like signs, and they're kind of like standing around like asking people for money, and people are giving them money, and I go, maybe I should be homeless. You know, you're just like, you're a really bad day, and it's like, you know what?
No, that's not a good idea.
I just think it's funny. Usually just trying to like mess with people.
When I was in LA and I was on Skid Row, you know, I can speak for that experience. Is like a lot of the homeless people I went into were classified into two camps, which were they had some type of mental or health issue, or, you know, actual like physical health issue.
Yeah.
Or They just didn't want the responsibility of the real world, which, hey, I completely get. There's some days where I'm like, yeah, I don't really want it either.
I think as you get older too, it gets like very difficult. Like that becomes harder because like you see people and they're just like, it's not so bad. It's like, brother, I got 10 years on you. I was like, just wait. It's like some
it's like, this is the worst day of my life, and I'm like, I'll tell somebody, be like, this is the worst day of your life so far.
Yep. Yeah, it's just, I'm like, just wait. I'm like, you don't see it yet. I was like, but one of these days, it's like things are gonna get tight, or something will happen, and you'll just be like, wait a minute. It's just
I mean, it goes back to like, as you grow, you're gonna have some really bright days and some really dark days. It's just, that's how life rolls. The rain falls on the just and the unjust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the sun shines on the just and the unjust. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think that's why having that base as a kid is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with your physical health. That's why, like, exercising as a kid and like as you're becoming a teenager and into your early adults, why it's so important to lift and to exercise and to be in good shape is because when you're in your 40s and 50s and 60s, it's going to matter a lot because you're building that base. And so having that base of Christ at such a young age, and as the storms of life comes, and as this the good days of life come, having that foundation there to withstand it is important.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We're running out of time. Let's talk about...
Yep.
Have you watched the Resident Evil trailer yet? We'll save some of this other stuff for next week.
No.
You haven't seen the trailer yet? Okay.
Negative.
I can't believe you
talking about
it.
For the movie?
The new one, yeah.
I didn't even know there was. Did we say we were talking about that?
I mean, it was... I thought you... Whatever, we're talking about it. It's literally the background for the thumbnail, Joseph.
I know.
Why don't...
Bro, you said nothing to me about this.
Here, this is what you need to do. It's 1 minute and 53 seconds. So I think I can do a bit of a summary of how I feel about it in that amount of time. And while I'm doing that, you watch it and make sure whatever's muted in order for that to be the case, okay? Deal?
Go for it.
Okay. So, we're going to talk about this because I have played pretty much every Resident Evil game or beaten most of them. This is the new movie by... Wait, hold on. Copyright protector is on. Yes. This is what we want. We want to... Let's make it big. Okay. It looks like everything's working properly. So I believe it's Zach Cregger who was the director of Weapons most recently, and he also directed Barbarian, which is a movie I've talked about before that I like. It got announced, I think, late last year that he would be doing a adaptation of the popular video game franchise Resident Evil. And that right after that, things started kind of spiraling a little bit, and people were questioning it because news came out that he wasn't actually adapting any of the games, that he was doing his own thing. And then there has been some concern over some of the things that he said about it. And so we finally got a trailer. And I would say that if this was not called Resident Evil, I would have less of a problem with it as a whole. I think the trailer's interesting.
All right.
You finished watching it?
Yeah.
So I was just kind of getting into sort of like my thoughts about it because I've played a lot of the games. And the director, Zach Cregger, has said a lot of interesting things about the way that he's doing this. One of the things that I do like about it, Joseph, is I think like visually, I whenever it I think again, this is like maybe it's sort of where I'm at with like the movie going experience, because like I'm kind of tired of the like bombastic like Marvel style things. It's one of the things I like about his style is that things are usually much. He brings everything down to like this more kind of grounded level for the most part. Like he'll have those like bigger moments or whatever, but he's not like, it's not everything. It's not your Marvel movies like like everything's constantly going and
letting things breathe and rest.
yeah. And I like his style. I think that the movie, I was saying if the movie didn't have, if it was not called Resident Evil, I would be much more interested in this, and I wouldn't have the concerns that I have because it's supposed to be set in that world. Because once you, even if you're not adapting something like one for one, which we've never gotten anything. The last one that they made, I don't think you ever saw it, but this was like way back when we first started the podcast. They made a movie called Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, and they were attempting to adapt the first two games. I cannot count on a single hand how many times I've gotten like physically ill in the theater. That movie did. Like I was really? Like, yeah, I was like nauseous by the time I left the theater. I can't exactly explain why. Something about the way the movie's like filmed. I should go back and watch it and see if it has the same effect. It's a terrible movie. Like it's a bad adaptation. They don't understand any of the characters. Interesting concept to try to mash the first two games together into like a single narrative. I don't think it works very well. I don't remember a ton about it, but it very much is trying to like hit certain like nostalgic buttons with people, and it looks like a really cheap movie at the same time. So the problem with this like new adaptation, if you will, is that like he doesn't want it to be set like he's trying to get away from expectations of the fan base by not actually adapting any of the source material. And I would say, to a degree, and people might disagree with me on this, and that's fine, but I would say that like the Resident Evil franchise, especially the further you kind of like go down the games, especially like after 4, there's like a little bit of wiggle room for like interpretation about like how you would want to turn any of those into a film. I think 1 through 4 you need to stay like as close as possible because they have like very specific like narratives, and then like you can add, I think it's fine to like add in some of the details of like lore or other things like that the games don't, because games are like weird with that, the way that they do lore and exposition and all those kinds of things. Like it's adapting to a screenplay, so like there's some things that you have to change, whether that's like pacing wise or the way that you sort of like introduce certain elements. I think it's totally fine to do stuff like that with games. But he's just doing something completely different and being like, this is basically like a B plot while other stuff is happening in Raccoon City. But you know, bringing this full circle, like you still run into potential issues with that because there's a lot of people who are like obsessed with the details of their favorite franchises, including this one. And if you do things that don't make sense within where you're setting this film, you're going to run into a lot of problems. And I think he's going to run into that. And there was like a couple things in this that people noted where they were like, oh, this thing isn't from, like shouldn't be around at this point in like the timeline or whatever. But it's stuff that's like details of stuff. I'm like, I was like, I have played these games and I was like, I don't remember this thing at all. So I am curious like what they're going to do with it. But I also kind of wonder if ultimately it's going to be sort of like the trappings of Resident Evil with it just being like little references here and there. So he's like outside Raccoon City, goes into Raccoon City. Like maybe stars is referenced. They're like the elite police officers of Raccoon City. Maybe some names will get dropped, something like that. But I don't think we're going to get. I think he's just going to make a movie and it's got the title on it more than anything. And that is what I have to say. What'd you think of the trailer?
I thought it was interesting. I mean, I don't know anything about that. Well, I should say anything. I don't know that much about Resident Evil like you do. It seemed more grounded, but it doesn't seem anything based off what I know of any of the characters in Resident Evil. Is that true? Is this just a random story about some random dude in Resident Evil? Or is this supposed
He's
to
not
be,
he's not even like an act. Well, I probably should.
He's not like a protagonist in the actual video games, right? Okay.
Yet.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting.
No,
so it's
he's
just
not.
a story about a random dude.
Yep. And that's why it's like
What did you think
like,
of the trailer?
I think it looks good. I said like if I didn't know what this was, like if I had no idea, still sort of like similar tastes, like all that, didn't know what Resident Evil was, even if they kept the name, I'd probably be like, all right, I might go see this. I might grab Justin. We'll go see this Resident Evil movie. And if someone was like, well, it's based on a game, I'd be like, okay, whatever. And like probably still would go see it. But like he should have just, I don't know. I don't know if the name is going to carry, if like that's the expectation. Because like Barbarian, whether people liked it or not, pretty interesting concept, and it's kind of like a carrot on a stick movie for a lot of it, where things are happening and you're just kind of there like okay, a little further, a little deeper, like into whatever this like narrative is. And I don't and like Weapons is different. I didn't care for it quite as much as other people did. I was not the fan. I was actually surprised how many people I typically like align with. This one I was just like with like Weapons. There's things I like about it. There's a lot of stuff in it I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, it just didn't quite click for me. And then so I'm curious to see what this is going to be, because he has a tendency to make like pretty serious movies, and then attempts to inject what I would almost call like is like sort of this like sarcastic sense of humor into pieces of it, which could work for this, for like what Resident Evil is, because it's it can be very like tongue in cheek at times. Some of that is because of original like translations of things, and like the way that they used to like way back, because the first game came out in like 90. Someone is going to correct me on this. I want to say 97, but I don't. It might have been a little earlier than that. Regardless, I think it was 90s. And so like voice acting and other things like that, it wasn't the sort of like art that it is today. Like you used to just like hire people and be like, we just need you to read these voice lines. And so you weren't necessarily getting like, no, we need you to put this kind of passion into it, or no, it's not a question. So stuff would just come out in like weird ways, and so it's got a little bit of this like tongue-in-cheekness because of certain like lines of dialogue, whether that was like from translation or just the way that it was done by the voice actors. There's like this whole thing with that people just like love, and some of it, like I said, is like tongue-in-cheek, some of it's not. So we'll see like where that goes with it. But like, yeah, dude, I think it's supposed to be this is just the teaser trailer, I guess, and ultimately like Resident Evil is about like the zombies and the virus outbreak, and Raccoon City gets like overrun, and it's about these very specific characters escaping from that, and then them slowly finding out that there's something hidden below the surface that's the cause of all this. And Raccoon City might not just be this normal town that everybody thought that it was. It's cool. It's always been kind of like a cool concept. They've never adapted them properly. I mean, the franchise is old at this point. Like it's up there, and we've never gotten a good, faithful. I mean, you can say this about a lot of things in the video game franchise in that like realm or whatever. It's more bad than not, honestly. But Resident Evil is one of those things that everyone keeps going like, why can't you just like hire a good cast and just do the first game? There's plenty of material. You could definitely make it work, and you don't even need like a huge budget. It's literally about like essentially like breaking it down to its core. It's like about a group of police officers who go in to investigate a mansion, and they run into all sort of like horrific creatures, and then like your main cast is trying to get out alive. And there's a lot of like really interesting things that you can do with that. Like there's definitely room to have some good cliffhangers with stuff like that. Like the franchise is just kind of like built around that, and nobody needs this to get nominated for awards. Like people just want to see something that they love adapted. Like if you're going to do an adaptation, like just do it right.
Yeah, right.
But for whatever reason, we're still at that point where, like, especially these days, like, it's probably never going to happen. I feel like most video game adaptations still, like, Hollywood wants to, like, dip into that because of, like, the success of Mario and even Minecraft. Unfortunately, that movie was not good. But that, it's like the success of some of these franchises, and they're trying to tap into that. But the problem is it's like you still have to make this stuff good, and like you have to treat. I will tell you this. This is slightly off topic. I watched a movie a couple days ago. It's like a childhood favorite. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Airborne. It's about this kid. It's a fish out of water story. It's about this kid who he's from California. He's like your 90s surfer kid. He talks like one.
Right.
He surfs and he rollerblades and everything's like super chill. And his parents are like teachers or scientists or something like that. And they get this grant to go study in Australia. And so he has to go and stay with his aunt and uncle in, I think it's Ohio. Super like simplistic plot line, but one of the things I noticed about it is that like they could have, because there's like goofiness in it. Like it's like one of Jack Black's like first roles. He plays one of the he's kind of a bully, but like he's kind of still the goofy guy or whatever. The movie actually just takes the subject matter seriously. It's an example of a movie that very easily they could have just turned the whole thing into like a big joke. But the whole thing is treated so sincerely that I was like, I still really like this. It's got problems, but for this movie that came out in like 1993, really simple premise. I couldn't believe, like, I was like, they don't, we say this a lot, it makes us sound old, but whatever. They just don't make stuff like that anymore. Everything, like, and I will say this is like, I think a product, at least to some degree, of our generation. Right. They just refuse to take things seriously. And it's not that you can't inject humor into those things, but like Jack Black is one of the characters in it that he's part of the humor of the movie. Some of the humor is just like the situations that they find themselves in. But the movie is so sincere in what it's trying to do, and I just miss that. I miss that someone can go like, this is the kind of movie that I want to make, and then like come at it with like its sincerity, and they're not making fun of the material that they're trying to produce, which is what you get with like a lot of modern Marvel, really just modern movies in general. It seems like it happens too much. Like everything's a joke, everything's wink, wink, nod, nudge, or wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Breaking the fourth wall to like, hey guys, I understand how dumb it is that these cops are in a mansion getting attacked by zombies. Oh, isn't that wacky and weird? So instead of doing that, it just needs to be taken for what it is, right?
Right.
Because you could see the same thing happen with like Lord of the Rings, where it's like the subject material is not taken seriously, and it's like, whoa, what are these guys with pointy ears and guys who dig holes into the mountains? Whoa, that's like it's like a weird. Our generation gets sort of blamed for that, which I don't know if that's 100% fair, but I'm okay with like, taking the chin, or like taking it on the chin for that, because it's like it does seem like our generation that just refuses to take stories like in a sincere manner, or like the art form like in a sincere manner. It's like everything's just like a joke, or something to just like about the whole time. So I don't know if that's like what this is gonna be. I really hope not. And like I said, I like the trailer. I just don't know if they, Zach Cregger and his team is gonna be able to break the curse of the terrible Resident Evil movies. At best, I feel like I will see this and be sort of like, yeah, it's all right. It's not Resident Evil, but it's all right.
That's funny.
I think it was a misstep for them to make this a Resident Evil movie. I think that they should have just, I don't know,
something different.
Yeah. It's like I was thinking recently, like, because one of the things people talk about a lot when it comes to like remakes or adaptations or other things like that is that the way to do remakes, what people should be doing, is to take like average to below average movies and try to make them good, because you have the potential to take something that wasn't quite done right and turn it into something really good. And I was thinking about that because I was like, if I ever had the opportunity, would I do something like that for Airborne? Because there's like very specific things about it. Like I have very like specific criticisms about certain parts of the movie. It's like overall I think it's pretty good, and I'm nostalgic for it to a degree, but like it does a lot right. There's just some things that I probably would have tweaked and changed and like added character moments here, and probably put like a bit more of like a satisfying ending on it, to sort of like round out this kid's like journey from like going to California to like, the middle of Ohio where he can't surf. And then potentially like, okay, does he go back to California at the end? Like what, just to kind of give a little bit of like closure on that. But I thought about it and I was like, no, like I think what you do is that like what you should do is that you learn the mistakes or learn what you like and don't like about certain projects, even things that aren't like your top tier of your lists. And go like, okay, I want to do something that like I was inspired to make because of something like this, rather than like a direct adaptation or remake of something. I think there's potentially more value in something like that, and it's an art form I think that's kind of like lost. Like no one goes like, oh, I was inspired by Resident Evil. It's like, I'm not making Resident Evil, but like you will see things that if you're a fan, you'll recognize certain like aspects of it or story beats or whatever the case may be. Because I'm a fan of these things and I love these like story elements and I want to put them into my own thing. And I think that's where you find the place to move forward. It's not the same as just being like, well, let's slap a title of something popular on this, and then like you'll have a built-in like audience. One obviously requires like a little more work than the others, but these video game movies don't always do well, and if people catch on that like this stuff just isn't being faithful, after a while people just stop going.
Yeah, they will.
I don't think the built-in audience is quite there like it used to be. We'll talk about that. I guess next. We'll talk about Odyssey next week. I still haven't watched that.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched that trailer. I'm like. It's not. It wouldn't be fair to me to say like I hope this movie ends up being better than people think that it's going to be. The new Odyssey, because I really like Christopher Nolan. I like a lot of his work. He has done more good than bad, and I maybe Tenet excluded. I feel like saying this is a bad movie from Christopher Nolan, he's still not on the lowest rungs of bad movies. You know what I mean? Because the guy's got talent. Like, even in Tenet, like, you can see that he's got talent. It's just like, I don't know. And I liked Oppenheimer. I thought it was good. Oppenheimer's a bit of a, like, I don't know, that's not fair. That's not fair to him. I was going to say it's a bit of a layup because it's a biopic, basically. But it's very good, and it's really hard to make a 3-hour biopic interesting. And I think he did it.
Right.
And The Prestige is one of my favorite movies of all time, so it's like really hard to. It hurts. This is a big one. If he starts going down the path of like making bad movies, Joseph, like that's gonna hurt a little bit.
I know it is.
Because I get it. Like some people make mistakes, or like some people make stuff that you're just not. I don't like like Quentin Tarantino. I don't like Death Proof. Like I didn't think that was a very good movie. I think Quentin Tarantino doesn't even think that was a very good movie. So, there's your movies aren't all gonna be. Something's gonna be the cream that rises to the top. I don't think Odyssey's gonna be it.
I don't think so either.
Just from what I've seen of some of the stuff or whatever, but like that comes out this year, right?
Right.
We'll find out soon enough.
I think it does. Yeah.
We'll find out soon enough because we'll talk about it. But yeah, we'll talk about that trailer next week.
Sounds good.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we head out?
Nah, man, that is it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for indulging my conversation about Pragmata this week.
Of course, man.
Bro, you won't believe it. So I was a little behind on some stuff, and I was looking at our last episode that we did. And at some point during us doing like the live recording, something got messed up on my end, and our images got shifted down to bottom right, so you can only see like the top quarter of them or whatever. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, oh well. Moving on. We're moving on. I think everything's been good this week, though. Everything looks right on my end. So I don't know what happened with it last week. I must have like clicked something or moved a screen somewhere, and it just like messed up the aspect ratios on it. But I always hate when that stuff happens because I always seem to find it post us doing it and not in the middle of us doing it. And then there's not a whole lot that I can do. That isn't like
about it.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's like I've had that problem in the past before, and there's stuff I've been able to do, but it's like so much extra work, And the less I have to do in post, the better. Especially right now, just because we've got so much going on. If I don't have to do things in post, I like not to do those things. But anyway, well, Joseph, it's been another good episode.
Yeah, man.
Thank you to everyone who has been listening live, who joined in the troll room to troll and or talk to us. And thank you all to everybody who listens to this on the podcast, wherever you're at. We know you're out there. We got people downloading the show. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us, and we'll be back next week talking Mortal Kombat. We're gonna try to do that next week.
Yeah,
I don't want to overpromise. I don't want to overpromise.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to watch it, but maybe
you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You will. You'll figure it out. But yeah, until next week, guys. Y'all take it easy.
See ya.